Welcome back to Resilience Plus Rise, the space where we excavate the extraordinary from the heart of the challenge. I'm your host, Thomas Carrier, and if you're feeling a pull towards whether it's a deeper purpose or towards a more impactful legacy, whether it is the peaks that you've already conquered or in the challenges that you're going through, you're in the right place. Because just like 26.2 transformative miles I explore in my book, Resilience Plus Rise, life's most significant chapter often begins when we dare to redefine our finish line. It's a bestseller and it's available to buy. Today, I welcome a very amazing personality, Tricia Knightley. She's a CEO and founder of WebWorks. She's an expert in digital marketing, branding, and business empowerment. She's also a visionary entrepreneur. But what got my attention was above all these particular elements was she's an emotional healing advocate. She's the founder of Portrayals, a virtual platform blending immersive technology with deep inner work, not only to make healing just possible, but experimental. Portrayal XR, we will be talking more on that. It's revolutionizing the emotional healing, creating immersive mobile and virtual reality experiences. He's also an author of Love Your Journey that gives practical advice for learning about and balancing a wide range of emotions. As she says, emotions play a bigger role in our daily life than most of us understand. Let's get to love the journey with Trisha. Trisha, welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, I've just rattled off so many different things. And given the space and time, I'm not too sure whether we'll be having a segue to get into all these particular things. But I know there are few things which is absolutely passionate about what you do. Before we can go into that, in my podcast, there's a statement that I usually say, which at times could be or could not be, depending on how you look at it. Sometimes our deepest of purposes comes from our deepest of pains.
Hmm?
Or I put it in that the light shines the brightest from our deep scars. This is taken from Rumi. But what has been your journey, Trisha?
Yeah, so I kind of was just born into an entrepreneurial family, so I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur at some point in time. And I totally agree with you that, whatever you've triumphed over in life is you are here to help other people with. So just a traumatic childhood, being raised, and it was definitely a place that was, I had to become a psychologist at a very young age to see what it was going to be like in my home that night, obviously depending on alcohol, depending on, just if everybody was getting along. And so literally at the age of 5, I had to really feel around my environment and make sure that I was going to be safe. And actually other people in my family were going to be safe as well. So it really brought on this journey of figuring myself out. And the idea was about 14 years ago, I started just reading every book I could find about subconscious reprogramming and just really getting to the root of who I am and really starting to remember why I came here. And so if I can help other people that lived in traumatic environments when they were little, then we can become more emotionally regulated as adults, which is my goal, is to get people to have the feelings I feel currently, which there are moments of my life that I feel so much peace now that I literally feel like I have created heaven on earth. And so if I can get other people to feel that same way, I lived my life exactly how I want to.
Fantastic. That goes as per one of my ideologies. What I say is that we all are angels with one wing. When we hold
Mm,
another, that's when we start flying higher.
yes.
So, yes, if I take a step back over here and say that there have been people, especially I've been fortunate enough having some wonderful humans, and few of them have gone through the challenges of having traumatic childhood and the choices that they took thereon. What made you specifically dwell into the element of psychology and the path that you have taken?
Yeah. So I think through studying subconscious reprogramming and realizing that, talk therapy is not really doing much good. Like, it has its place, it has its time and place. But if you keep revisiting those traumatic environments, you're literally training your subconscious to over and over and over again live through that trauma. And so if you can get to the root of the trauma and do some subconscious reprogramming in a more positive way instead of covering it up with prescription medication, then you can actually become the adult that you want to be. So I think that the idea is what led me down this path is myself doing inner child healing with a therapist and having the actual progression. We did EMDR and inner child healing, and they were absolutely life changing. Whenever you can go back and reparent that younger self and make them feel seen, loved, heard, and safe, then you are literally, like I said, you are becoming more emotionally regulated as an adult. And it doesn't have to be just traumatic childhoods. I've met so many people that said, oh, well, my childhood it was fine. It was great. I knew my parents loved me, but no parent is perfect, right? We cannot always be and give the child everything they need at all times. They're not always going to feel seen, loved, heard, and safe. And then you send them off to school and society changes, right? So this is what we're doing with Portrayals is for everyone.
Hmm. Actually, when you were talking about that, it's funny. My mind just went into I'm in a rock choir, and one of the songs we are performing is the illogical song, wherein we grow up when we are as childs, we grow up with this wonderment about the world and everything, and then we are put in an institution, and where the entire dynamics change. Here, as I mentioned, that this talk goes through different people, and there may be some people when you talk about subconscious programming or the inner child or EDMR. What are these modalities? What are we talking about? Because for me, yes, I had a hurtful childhood, but how can I come out of it? So, what what's your take? I mean, just as layman terms, what these elements are?
Yeah, well, I'll start out with the thing that I did first because I actually had a life coach tell me, "Oh, Tricia, you've had a really traumatic childhood. I don't think I can help you. You need to go see a therapist." And so that was kind of like not really my rock bottom moment, but it was a definite life changer for me. And so I went and did the EMDR, and basically what it does is it doesn't make you forget what happened. It cuts that emotional tie to the situation, so you're not emotionally triggered by those things as an adult anymore. So I can talk about my entire childhood now and not have any sort of tears or any, anxiety or anything coming up. So basically what they do is try to take it from like a level 10 down to 0. So EMDR is absolutely amazing. And then the second thing I did was the inner child healing. So your brain doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future. So if you can go into your imagination, then you are feeling that inside of your body. So if you're making that child feel that way as a kid, you're literally rewriting the story that happened, and you can start appreciating your childhood for what it was. Wouldn't be the woman I am today if it wasn't for that. So I can appreciate that. And that's what I came here to experience. And so when you can kind of look at your life from this observer place and not from a place of hurt and pain and reaction, and then it's justified as to why things happened, right? Because people are always, well, why would God ever let this happen to me? It's not really about that, right? You came here for your experiences, and I believe that God is working through you to have those experiences. Like He's in us. So the idea, the next part of it you had asked about, the subconscious reprogramming, is your subconscious is controlling 95% of what you do every single day. So if your subconscious is reacting from triggers and hurtful moments in the past, you are going to end up on this cycle of life that is going to end up chaotic, and you're just going to keep recreating things over and over and over again. But when you can get to the root of the problem and really truly become aware and become just very cognizant of what you're doing and conscious, then subconscious reprogramming is what will actually get you off of that cycle. So whenever you are doing subconscious reprogramming, I'm sure you've heard of like affirmations, right? Whenever you can do affirmations, so it is programmed through repetition and feeling in the body. So those are the things that we're doing with Portrayals, is we're creating the feelings in the body because you're in an immersive environment in virtual reality, or even on a mobile phone. When you see your child self come to life, it is life-changing. It is so amazing to be able to see that little person and help feel better, which makes you feel better as an adult. So that's the subconscious reprogramming. If you can do affirmations and do things in repetition and really truly feel them, that is what's really going to change your reality.
Hmm, interesting. So you got into reading of the books, studying about it, and you have got a corporate background, but there was something that made you change more towards the healing part of it, the emotional healing part of it. How did this call come through? I know it was a part of who you are.
Mhm.
So what happened?
I think spirituality got a hold of me, I guess.
Okay.
So through all of that reading, I started reading probably the most recent ones that were just life changing were for me were Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with
Conversation
God.
with God. Okay.
Yep. And Happier Than God. I absolutely love that book as well. Friendship with God. They're all just so amazing. And I got this idea for Portrayals 3 years ago. So I knew that this was what I came here for back then. But the market wasn't ready yet. So I knew I did what I knew how to do. I own a digital marketing agency, like you said, and I've had that for 14 years. And so it was easy for me to go do the branding, build the website, get out on social media, create all of the marketing assets that I needed and set up a CRM and do all the things. But now it has completely taken over my life because I know that this is what I'm here for. There is no turning back now. So it's just a matter of, really finding that soul purpose. And it's going to be absolutely amazing once it's launched.
Fantastic. As they say, once you're stretched, you cannot go back to your original size. That's fantastic. And from what I just heard, is that I am sure this would be amazing for people who are being in that process of working with you. And guys, I will be putting Trisha's information in the comments below. Do reach out if any of these things resonates with you, or you can. I believe you have got. Um, Sessions modality wherein they can reach to have a little clarity, and it was there in one of the sites. So but yeah, do reach out and see where it can take you to the next level, or what's weighing you down. So Trisha, when you have been working in this particular sphere, I know that this is just one of what you believe that you're doing, but it usually happens that once you reach that particular space, you know there is much more growth which is taking place. And it's funny that you mentioned that you realize at times the world was not ready. It goes back to this amazing lady, Marianne Williamson, wherein she came, Return to Love. And she said, there was so much of thought in me that I did not feel that the world was ready for this particular book, but she went ahead and did it nevertheless. And so when you're in this particular journey, and specifically with the current involvement, Again, this question comes from a digital strategist point of view. Nowadays, if I want to look for any answer, I directly go to my new friends, ChatGPT, Gork, or Gemini, or something like that. So, how different is your process than me just going and typing few things and saying that, look at me, moving myself from the victim and the martyr mentality?
Yeah. So, well, immersion, number one. ChatGPT can tell you what to do, but if you don't do it, then it's not going to really change anything, right? So, and I love ChatGPT, don't get me wrong, but what we're doing is literally going to, you can take a picture of yourself and bring it to life inside of virtual reality and
Hmm.
on your mobile app. So when you can actually see that, be with it, feel the feeling, ChatGPT might make you feel a little bit, right? Maybe you can go talk to your higher self with ChatGPT or do something like
Hmm.
that. But it's not going to make you feel the feeling like it is whenever you get to see a child version of yourself.
Hmm.
And so I think it's the immersion, it's the feeling. We're training AI in a bunch of different ways for, really trying to bridge the gap for wellness practitioners. So people actually work alongside a wellness practitioner inside of our application, and or they can do it on their own at home. But also created various safety measures so that if their heart rate gets too high, it shuts down and goes into meditation, and they actually have to go see a wellness practitioner to be able to be walk through the inner child reparenting experience. So I think that there are a lot of amazing tools out there. But I think what we're doing is, I mean, we have innovator advantage. Absolutely. We are the first to the market with what we're doing, and which isn't always easy. It is definitely like they're convincing people that you know what you're doing and that it's going to be amazing before it is. And I'm here for it. What I'm doing.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can see the passion very much evident from the time we had met last time, and of course, when I'm talking to you and seeing it on your website. But let's put it to a thing that there might be some person who may want to uncover something about themselves. Maybe they do not want to go into that particular higher level of seeking deep within. What could be the basic 101, maybe around 3 or 4 tips that people could do to get a better stability or better core in their own understanding? What's your thoughts, your experiences, and your learnings, if you could impart a few of them?
Sure. Meditation has been absolutely life changing for me. Whether it's silent meditation or guided meditation or just beautiful music that really gets you in touch with your soul. I think that meditation and really getting to, that's how Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it, right? It's like getting to know yourself. And that's exactly what we want to do, because you came here for you. And that might sound selfish, but at the same time, you came here to have these particular experiences. And there are times, just like what I'm doing right now, I'm stepping into the higher version of myself and literally recalibrating and changing who I am to become the person that owns a multi-million-dollar company like Portrayals. So it's not an easy process, right? It's simple but not easy. And so meditation can be that. You can just meditate for 5 minutes. Start with that. If you can't meditate for 5 minutes, you probably need to be meditating for an hour. So it will calm your mind. We don't need to be thinking as much as we are. We're literally running this like human rat race. Then we need to get out of that mind and get more into the feeling. And I love heart brain coherence is one of my favorite things. There's an app that you can actually track it and make sure that your heart and brain are in alignment, because that's when your nervous system is really in a place that you want it to be. So that's the goal. For me, I've been searching for what is the master key of life. And I believe it is nervous system regulation and getting yourself calm. Because what is calm? Peace. And what do we all want? We all want peace and freedom. So the way to get peace and freedom is to practice it more often. So like I said, simple, but not easy. So
Mhm.
that's one. And then I call it my internal God system. So my intuition, listening
Okay.
to your true self is so very important. I cannot even describe to you how much I've learned even in the last year of, wow, I wasn't listening to myself. And so all of us, even though I've learned that I need to listen to my intuition more, I was out in my garden last summer and I kept hearing this voice saying, you're not listening. You're not listening. And I'm like, what am I not listening to? But it really hit me like, okay, I'm not listening to me. I'm not listening to that internal God system, whatever you want to call it, the God of your understanding, whatever that word means to you. And so I think those two things, and just reading and growth has kept me passionate and growing tremendously. And actually physically reading books has been an absolute life changer for me.
Hmm. When you talk about intuition, at times, this was a question which was asked to me as a coach, is that how do I differentiate at times what is the ego and what is the intuition? And at times, the lines could become very blurry. For me, for us, that pause, listen. If there is a sense of peace that comes within you, that's your intuition. But if there is something which is hurried, something which is not gives you a false sense of security, that's maybe your ego talking. And yeah, in fact, I also go through some of the great masters like Wayne Dyer and Joe Dispenza, Deepak Chopra, etc. So I also tend to listen to their elements. So that's pretty clear. What else in your line? You mentioned that you have been in this field for few years, but if you look into it, there would be some commonalities which is coming through, whether it is the inner child trauma, or whether it is about people refusing to understand what's happening around in the real world or the internal world. But have you found any commonalities that you see that, okay, there is, okay, that smile says everything. Please go ahead.
So I think, and after talking to many, many, many people about mental health, that everybody has this underlying belief that they are not enough and that they are not
Ah,
enough to be loved for who they truly are. And there are so many things that play into that. I mean, I remember as a kid laying in the hallway underneath a blanket, hoping someone would notice I was even there. And it's like, whether it be somebody literally kicked me and tripped over me or whatever it is, just not feeling seen, loved, and heard in those moments, and safe, right? Safe is what we really, really need to feel in our bodies. And that comes with that nervous system regulation. So I truly feel that pretty much every person, I would say every single person at some time felt like they are not enough. Whether they walk into a room and don't feel like they belong,
mm.
or they don't feel like their partner will really love them who they really are, so they can't be vulnerable and express themselves. That to me is the underlying feeling behind all of it. And when you can reframe that self-love that comes from that is priceless.
I I can totally stand by that statement when people do say I'm not enough, because again, as a coach, I do hear that statement, not directly, but in the actions that they do, or I believe the way they are hurtful to their own self, about they forget about being kind to their own self, and they forget that basic element is that you can be kind to others, but not how about your own self. How can people increase that vibration
Mhm.
of kindness, of being enough, of loving self? What could be few of the things that they could do, Trisha?
Mhm. So give more of what you need. And it is like the
Hmm.
idea of, you know, the living and really truly living out and giving to other people what you need is going to be a huge key, because you always hear like you get back tenfold what you give. So if you're talking about other people and your thoughts are negative, That's just going to draw in more negative, right? So if you can actually be more positive, say positive things about people, then you will feel that too. Because as within, so without. So everything I'm feeling internally shows up outwardly. So how you feel about me is probably how I feel about myself. Right? So that's the idea. So when you can really reframe your thoughts and your actions towards others, you will, it's like the golden rule. And I've called it like the platinum rule for years, right? Treat other people better than you even want to be treated, so then
Okay,
that
that goes a
that
step
back.
ahead. Fantastic. Okay. There was a statement that you just mentioned and it just caught my attention, but I wanted you to continue with what you were talking. Go within and without. Can you just repeat that phrase?
As within, so without.
Nice. Guys, get that. And if you can understand that, I think so, you have got one of the keys that could open up a lot of closed doors within your own self. What are the newer projects that you're working on?
Yeah, so I have a book that I'm writing. It is actually about creating that heaven on earth and really teaching people that you create your life. God might have created you, right? I always think of it as like, I always used to say like a drop in the ocean. So God is the ocean and you're that drop. But what if it was actually like you are the drop, the ocean, you are the whole ocean inside the drop. So you are creating what you came here for. So the idea is that when you look at yourself as the creator of your life, then you make different decisions. You kind
Hmm.
of think about the end, what the end in mind is. What do you truly want? What is your desire? And make every decision in your life based on that. And really truly focus on yourself. I spent about 3 years single, and I needed that time to really learn who Tricia is and remember that's why I'm living the life I am now. So you create heaven or hell while you're here. So that's what the book is about. Of course, Portrayals, we are at our very first funding round for Portrayals, and working with developers and getting all of that in line, and working with wellness practitioners to really co-create and so create the best immersive, safe environment that we can. And I'm really trying to, you think about like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? One
Mhm.
thing. You should be focused on one thing. So right now, Portrayals is my one thing that I am so focused on, and making sure that this vision comes to life, because this idea was given to me for a reason at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I woke up, was like, what? I'm supposed to do what? Create an inner child healing experience in virtual reality? I don't know how to do that, but here we are and we're creating it. So that is my main focus right now.
Fantastic. And I think so, once you know your purpose and you believe in it, the road, the path starts getting more clearer. We may not have the tools, we may not have anything with us, but the moment we say, yes, this is who I am meant to be, lo behold, the
Mm-hmm.
door opens. Just being mindful of time, Trisha. Is there anything else that you would want to tell to the listeners? Whether it's about your product, whether it's about your mindset skills, or anything that is resonating currently in your heart.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to check in with yourself. Don't be afraid of the quiet time and really embracing who you are, because if you can figure out who you are, everybody else will just that you will become a magnet to everyone else that you're wanting in your life. And so whenever you think about manifestation, if you can truly figure yourself out and what it is that you desire in your life, and in a quiet space, most people don't feel comfortable being quiet. And so
Hmm.
if you can do that, you can start getting off of some of those repetitive cycles that you are on. Once you can define what those are, it might take you getting quiet and journaling. So that would be my
Um,
advice.
Fantastic. So, guys, over here, what we heard was more about Portrayal XR, which is a revolutionary emotional healing technology. And this is the belief, and what Trisha is working was to empower the individuals to transcend their past, Manifest, she has used the word time and again, is manifest the desired future. This is what we see currently, what's happening around the seamless fusion of conscious and technology and making the transformative emotional breakthrough. It's not just for one, but she wants to make it for many, many people worldwide. In this process, help humanity. Trisha, with this, I conclude today's session. Thank you so very much for your space and time.
Thank you.